This is the VGN podcast for petty people! Live in Dublin! Make noise! Thank you everybody with me, your host, Christopher Sebastian. Co-host, Tom Lane. Selena Caemawr. And our guest today, you may have seen them elsewhere in the program. Our favorite Mills, who's not named Heather, Dr. Milton Mills. You know he's cranky, he's cantankerous, he's curmudgeonly, he's the cranky vegan Jake Conroy. Everybody, get on stage. Grab a mic. Find a seat. I'll sit here on the end. All right, welcome everyone. Now we're going to get started by welcoming our guests and learning a little bit about them. I'm sure, like I said, you all have seen them elsewhere on the program, but you may not know them personally. So we're going to get a little personal with them by asking them questions, but we're not just going to ask any questions because that would be way too easy for you. I actually have prepared a list of questions for Jake. Tom has prepared a list of questions for Milton. What? What's up?
I brought notes.
You brought notes. Actually, I'm just going to read this off of my phone. You see, my questions are actually compiled from Mike.com, which wrote an article very recently called The 36 Questions on OkCupid That Will Make You Lose Your Faith in Humanity. I've chosen 12 of those for you, Jake.
I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Excellent. I want you to read these questions ahead of time. I'm actually going to move away from you into the audience a little bit. So are you ready?
No.
Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Let's start at the beginning. I'm going to get out of the way. There we go. Let's see. Question number 1. When you get takeout food, do you usually eat out of provided containers or transfer the food to dishes?
That's a tough call, but I eat it straight out. Well, it depends on where I get it from, but the container.
You get.
I'm not dirty in dishes.
That's what I'm talking about. Wait, so it depends on where you get it from, though. So, what are we talking about here? What are the criteria that we use?
I'm pretty picky about my food and what touches what and what goes where. So, if it's all crammed into something, I'm separating it out because I don't want to touch it.
Chinese food.
So, well, that's usually food per container. So, container.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Mexican.
I don't really get takeout Mexican food.
Don't really get takeout Mexican?
To the heart.
Boo to that? I think he is okay in the audience. What's your opinion of sarcasm?
It's my entire life.
That was the correct answer, by the way. Third question. In the line, wherefore art thou Romeo? What does wherefore mean? Is it A, why, B, where, C, how, or D, who the fuck cares?
D, a strong D.
See, I would be inclined to agree with you. The actual correct answer, according to OkCupid, is why, and I looked this up to make sure that it's correct. Why is actually the Shakespearean word for wherefore. So when Juliet is asking, wherefore art thou, Romeo, she's actually asking why. Which I don't freaking get, but apparently that is actually the question. Again, Shakespearean English is a mystery to one and all. Question 4. Do you say thank you to waitstaff when served in a restaurant?
I say thank you as much as humanly possible.
That is, again, the correct answer. Question 5 is not a very vegan question. If you could kill all the mosquitoes in the world in an instant, would you do it? Yes, no, or I'm not sure.
From an ecological standpoint, no, I would not. This is driving me absolutely crazy, yes.
Oh, the mosquitoes, 86 of them. Were you picked on a lot at school?
Was I picked on a lot at school?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, because you're charismatic and popular.
No, I was not. No, I was fortunate enough to not be picked on in school.
Oh, wow. Well, good for you then.
I stayed. I got by on stage. Barely.
Question 7. Have you ever written anything on the wall of a public toilet?
I don't know if I've written anything on the wall of the public toilet, but I probably have added commentary to the wall of the public toilet.
What have you written something on the wall of a public toilet?
Well, it wasn't my original idea. It's more what's here is not okay, and I'm going to change it.
Oh, well done. This is making the world a better place. One public toilet at a time.
Don't let anyone tell you how this doesn't work.
Do you believe in dinosaurs? Again, there's a correct answer to this question.
Only if Jesus is riding them.
I know that's right. Let's see. Okay, does the idea of living underwater fascinate you? This is question 9. You're coming close to the end. Well done.
It depends on the temperature.
Okay, does the idea of living
I'm a sucker for hot water. Like, I could live my entire life in like a hot water.
Really?
Like a hot bath.
But not like the ocean or something?
If it was warm enough, absolutely.
Okay.
Would I be in the water or would I be under the water? Like,
You'll be
encapsulated.
You'll be like, I mean, I guess you'll be like a mermaid. I don't know, these questions are very non-specific, Jake.
All right, next question.
Moving too much into it. Let's see, question 10. If you discovered upon death that you must reincarnate into an animal but are only allowed a broad choice as follows, which would you select? An animal that lives on land, an animal that lives in the water, or an animal that can fly?
Jeez, I mean, in the state for not immune animals would indicate I probably wouldn't want to come back with any of them because it'd be a little bit worse than that. I would go flying.
A flying animal.
Yeah.
And be able to get away from, like, you know.
Anything and everything and everyone.
That's a good question. That's a good answer for that one. Okay. Do you believe dreams have hidden meanings to them?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Kind of, all right. Very Freudian there. Let's, we might come back to that later on. Oh my God. Okay, Cupid. Are your parents ugly? Bear in mind this is film.
I love my parents. No,
that wasn't the question, Jake. Like inside or out?
That's up to each individual to determine.
Oh, what a cop-out.
Yes, they are beautiful people.
All right, I will take that as an answer. That's Jake Conroy, everybody.
Now this is my bit. I'm going to ask questions to Dr. Milton Mills. These questions are sourced from something called the Smash Hit Spot on Twitter. Does anyone know what the Smash Hit Spot is? It's questions that have featured in the classic teenage magazine Smash Hits. So this could be very interesting.
Teenage magazine?
Oh my God.
I've got 18 questions, but we'll see if we can get through all of them. If not, we'll skip a few. First and foremost, Dr. Milton Mills, what did you have for breakfast today?
I had a all-day vegan taco with tofu, pinto beans, and vegan sausage. From right across there.
From who?
From, I don't know.
Should we shout them out?
That first spot over there where they give you all the salad.
Oh, that's a terrible shout out. That first spot over there.
You don't know the name, y'all. My
The
goodness.
food is great. It's just,
I think that's what it's called, my goodness.
I did not sort of.
It's true, it's called my goodness.
It is!
Oh, well,
My
there you go.
goodness.
All right.
Shout out to my goodness. Talking of goodness, question 2, are you a sex symbol?
I don't think so.
Oh,
In some people's eyes?
remember they asked this question to like One Direction or something.
Have you ever been asked that before?
No.
VGN offering something different.
All right.
The next question, on a very different topic, do you believe in nuclear disarmament?
Smash hits is right
Oh,
on.
wow.
That's what I'm talking about.
That is like you know you're asking the wrong person. Like that is a really complex question. I mean, I believe that it exists as a concept. Do I believe that the people running this world will ever be intelligent enough to do it? No, I don't.
That deserves a round of applause. Let me hear it. Next question, are you good at telling jokes?
Actually, I'm not bad.
Have you got one that you can give us?
Oh, see, now you're gonna put me on the spot. Nothing clean.
Hold your ears, kids.
We did not promise you a child-friendly VGN podcast with many people today.
I mean, all of the clean ones that come to mind immediately are like really corny.
Tell a corny one.
Tell a corny.
It does not start with "There once was a girl from Nantucket."
No,
please,
it doesn't.
do not.
Oh God, you know when you do this, like your mind just like draws a complete blank, right? Okay, so the worst one is, and I actually have a good one, and I can't think of it right now. But if April showers,
You can take a pass.
Okay,
We'll come back.
Take a pass, we'll come back.
Come back. All right.
We won't forget though.
All right.
Try not to get distracted by these other questions. Have you ever broken a bone?
Oh yeah, in my wrist. I tried to go ice skating when I was in junior high school. It was a very painful experience.
The next question is a difficult one.
Okay.
I've changed the currency for the audience. For €10,000, would you go for 3 months without washing, brushing your teeth, or using deodorant?
That's not enough money. No.
What's your baseline?
I mean,
Would you do one of the three?
He can be bought, apparently, but like just.
oh yeah, but it'll just take more. Cause like that would be pretty rough. Like no showering, no brushing my teeth, like
And no deodorant.
And no deodorant. I mean, the deodorant part is not so bad because vegans really don't stink. But
You obviously know different vegans than I do, but that's for another podcast.
Not all of you guys.
let me say that as badly. It has to be more money than that.
You can just sit at home and watch Netflix, man.
Huh?
Sit at home and watch Netflix. What the health? I don't know.
Yeah, but man.
This is a no-brainer for me. I'm on board.
Excellent.
Poor people will take the money and not wash. I'm like, oh yeah, totally. I'm here for it.
Next question. What person would you most like to meet, past or present?
Okay. Again, this may strike people as corny, but Jesus Christ.
JC?
I mean, I mean, Jesus was a true revolutionary. And he was man enough to be kind and loving, but also to stick to his beliefs, even if it meant giving up his life. And that is something I admire.
All right, he's here with the big JC.
That's
That's the JC, Jesus Christ, not Joey Hartstrong. That's a completely different JC.
Jeremy.
Jeremy Corbyn. or Jay Conroy. That's the other, that's the biggest JC of all.
Next question. What was the first gig you went to?
The first
Gig, music concert.
jeez. The first one I can remember, and this is again going to sound like really corny, was a coworker of mine gave me tickets to go see the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees?
The Bee Gees.
All right, I can get with that.
Okay, I've just dated myself, but yes.
Definitely.
I was very young.
On that note, if you were to go to karaoke tonight, which hasn't been ruled out, what would be a song of choice?
Maybe My Girl by the Temptations.
Can you give us a little rendition?
Oh, come on. No.
That was another setup.
Any fans of Theresa May might know this question. What's the naughtiest thing you did as a child?
Oh my God. Okay.
It's very location specific and it's not running through the fields of wheat.
First of all, there are so many things to choose from, but probably one of what would be considered naughty is I was always very outspoken about what I thought, which consequently got me in trouble with a lot of adults. And so in my elementary school, when we would get in trouble for talking back to the teacher or fighting with the teacher, they would pull out this thing called a check sheet, and it had a list of offenses. They would check off the ones you were guilty of, and you had to take it home, have it signed by your parent in order to be admitted back into school. Well, unbeknownst to my teachers, I had already taught myself how to cursive write, and my mother had a very distinctive way of writing in cursive, so I used to just take it home and sign her signature and bring it back, and I was good. And I didn't even tell my mother about that until about a couple of years ago, and she didn't believe me until I did her signature, and her mouth fell open. So yeah, forged my mother's signature.
How did that go down?
It was great for me.
Afterwards,
But I
when the
mean,
jaw drops.
again, my mother was shocked, but I'm an adult now, so what's she gonna do?
Well, that was it.
Can I just say that was the naughtiest thing you did as a kid? That's really cute.
It wasn't any of the things that were actually on the naughty list that he took home. It was actually the fact that he forged his mother's name. That was the naughtiest thing that he did.
Final few
I mean,
questions.
I did other bad stuff, I cursed out the lady from down the street.
I would have felt like that was worth Milton.
And she's here tonight.
No, I mean, because she deserved it.
That's why we call this segment Spilling the Tea.
What did she do?
Huh?
What did she do?
Well, first of all, she had these like just knucklehead sons, and at one point, I mean, this wasn't the occasion, but like we had a chipmunk that came into the neighborhood, and her grotesque husband went out and shot it. And then her sons came out wearing their paws on chains, and that was just like one of the most disgusting things, even as a 6-year-old, that I could ever see. But this is the kind of people we're dealing with. And we got into an argument one day, and she used a curse word, and I was very verbal. And by the time I got finished, she was standing there looking at me with her mouth hanging open, because I was like, I know a lot more curse words than you.
Final question. If you were a domestic appliance, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I were a domestic appliance.
And with a toughie.
Damn. Probably a refrigerator.
Why?
Just because you can keep things and everybody has to come to you to get what they need, and you know.
And it's cool.
Yeah. You can kind of control the flow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Milton Mills.
Moving on, Tom's going to do the news.
Yeah, we've had a few stories this week, and we thought, given that we've got a pretty decent panel here at Dublin VegFest, including myself, I'll take that. We're going to be talking about some of the stories that have been in the news recently. One of them is this. You may have seen that Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, notice they're both named for clickbait reasons, staged an intervention with Jaden over his vegan diet. So we thought, first of all, let's take a delve into this story and take a look at some of the clips from the Red Round Table, I believe it's called.
Red Table Talk.
Red Table Talk.
Yeah.
This one is actually not about Jaden, it's about Will Smith.
Will, back into your disciplined mind. I'm going to fast for 10 days. I did it, and I got to about 4 days, right? Because I was still taking my blood pressure medicine.
Ooh.
So I started checking my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was almost
low.
dangerously low.
Yeah.
So I stopped taking my blood pressure medicine, and my blood pressure normalized for the 10 days. And I felt as good as I had ever felt. And I started thinking, I was like, so wait a second. So I've been taking blood pressure medicine for almost a decade. And I was like, so do I have high blood pressure, or was I eating myself into high blood pressure?
Dr. Milton Mills. Do people eat themselves into high blood pressure?
Absolutely, without question. The standard Western diet will raise your blood pressure. So the answer is absolutely. The standard Western diet will absolutely raise your blood pressure. Diets that are high in animal fat, animal protein, dairy products, all these inflammatory foods will raise your blood pressure, and if you come off them, it can markedly lower your blood pressure. And typically, we have to take people off their blood pressure medicines once they go plant-based.
Let's just also take a minute to appreciate the fact that they're staging an intervention for Jaden Smith, and Will just literally admitted that he knows nothing about nutrition.
Okay.
All respect to Will Smith for the roles that you play on TV, but let's just appreciate the fact that this is a thing that happened.
Can I add as well, do you think it's interesting that the media picked up on the kind of vegan aspect rather than the aspect of Will Smith's issue?
Well, and what pisses me off about that is that Jaden happened to be vegan. We don't know that had anything to do with whatever was wrong with him. You know, it's just like if I go out and drive, 100 kilometers an hour on a wet pavement and fly off the highway and kill myself, did it have anything to do with the fact that I was black? Or was it just that I was stupid?
So I've got a second clip, if I can work out the technology, which I might not be able to. This is Jaden Smith talking about the intervention.
Will and I had a bit of an intervention with Jaden because he's a vegan now, but we realized he wasn't getting enough protein. So he was wasting away. He just looked drained. He was just depleted. He wasn't getting the nutrients.
Dark circles under his eyes. There was even a little grayness to his skin. And we got really nervous.
Yeah.
But you're definitely looking better now.
I also just want to say that I'm vegetarian, that I've tried to be vegan.
Yeah.
Because people get very specific about, we see you eating pancakes, I'm vegetarian. You know, I've tried to eat vegan meals. I'll go vegan for a week or so, but for the past year, I've been vegetarian, but everything guys say is right. I was just eating like 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe one. Maybe just that one big meal, and I'm like, oh, you know, I didn't get around to it. And now I'm like,
that's crazy to me.
And what the fuck were you eating? Excuse my language, but I'm just like, it's like, whoa, first of all, since when did Jada Pinkett become a nutritional specialist that she could diagnose protein deficiency, you know, from across the goddamn room? I'm like, it's like, what are you talking about?
How long does it actually take before someone does experience a protein deficiency? Like, you know, like how long would someone have to be deficient in protein before that showed?
Basically, they would have to essentially, I mean, before they really began to experience severe protein deficiency, they would have to look like they had just been released from a concentration camp. Because when you're not taking enough, I mean, truly not taking enough protein, your body starts to burn up your own muscles for it. And this boy did not look like he was emaciated and in a state of catabolism. Your hair starts to fall out. He still has all his hair. It had nothing to do with his vegan diet. I'm like, it's like, this kind of stuff makes me apoplectic. And then when I have a stroke, they're gonna say it's because he was vegan.
But he also said he was vegetarian. He wasn't even vegan. Also, like a single, like I actually, because I have like developed like a very specific taste for Beyond Meat sausages. One Beyond Meat sausage, fun fact, we're trying to get that sponsorship from Beyond Meat, y'all have to. But like one Beyond Meat sausage has like 16 grams of protein. So like I saw in the corner of the screen, it was saying the recommended daily amount of protein that one should take for women. I think it's 46 grams and 56 grams for men. And so it's like, so yeah, like if you have like 3 Beyond Meat sausages, I think that like you could probably like wrap that up really quick.
Okay.
Which I can eat that in a sitting. So like, and I'm just guessing.
A bowl of beans, a handful of almonds. I mean, it's just like, unless this dude was eating nothing but lettuce, carrots, and celery juice, it is almost impossible not to get enough protein on a plant-based diet. That's why this is so stupid. By the way, anytime y'all ready, I got my joke.
Save it. We'll save it for the interview. Just also note as well the fact that he said he only ate 2, sometimes 1 meal a day, and we don't know the actual meals that he ate. But the headline still said they had to intervene because of his vegan diet, because of his lack of protein.
Even though he says he wasn't vegan, right?
Have you guys ever suffered from protein deficiency on the vegan diet?
I'm a fat vegan. I'm not deficient in any of them. I'm over.
Overrepresented all the proteins and carbohydrates.
I do want to add something though, that because he mentioned he's vegetarian, not vegan. When people say that like, oh, you don't get enough iron or protein because you're vegan, actually vegetarians get far less, because what they tend to do is replace their meat with things like cheese and other things which don't have as much protein in as like the legumes and even a lot of the vegetables, which are quite high in protein that we tend to replace meat with. And so vegans actually tend to get more iron and more protein than vegetarians do. There is also the thing as well, because I studied genetics at university, and part of the biochemistry, something we learned in biochemistry is that eating meat actually gives a feedback to your cells to your body to stop absorbing as much iron. So actually, vegetarians and vegans are able to process and absorb more iron. It's more bioavailable. So there are a lot of these myths around being vegan and actually being vegetarian health-wise in terms of like taking in nutrition is is not so good.
Jake, do we call you Jake or Cranky?
What?
Do I call you Jake or Cranky?
You can call me whatever you like. Just don't call me late for dinner.
He stole Milton's joke just now.
Sorry.
I was doing the joke.
No, I've never experienced any sort of deficiency that I'm aware of. I would argue that probably most of his deficiency is coming from having to listen to Will Smith's Big Willie Style album over and over again, which probably does not play well in Ireland, but in the United States, terrible, terrible album. And that probably
not his finest work.
No.
And can I say, the only time that I have had like dark circles and whatnot under my eyes is when I've been up partying for like 3 straight days with no sleep. Okay? It had nothing to do with that.
Tonight's gonna be lit.
Everything to do with MDMA. Just kidding.
So, I just had one more clip that I wanted to show you from Red Table Talk. And this is talking about Jaden's health in general, ahead of his performances in Australia and at Coachella as well.
Like right before Coachella, I was not doing good. I feel like I was at like an 8 of stress.
You weren't looking good at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking good. I wasn't feeling
You weren't
good.
sleeping.
I wasn't sleeping. I also had that one time where like I threw up that whole day.
Oh,
where
yeah.
Stomach was upset
That
all
happened
the time.
twice, too.
I had the other time in Australia to where I was in so much pain in my stomach in the emergency room. It was one of those things where like they just give you like some pills.
That
but
scared me.
They never.
I was about to hop on the plane to Australia.
They
Like, I'll
never
be
tell you.
damned.
We all were.
Milton.
And this is why Buddhists do self-immolation. Shit like this. It's like the only appropriate response is to just set yourself on fire.
We don't recommend that as a brand either.
He just told you, I wasn't sleeping. But it's like, what does that have to do with being vegan? Besides nothing.
Who are all these people? Why are they sitting around talking about their health problems?
You don't know anything about Red Table Talk.
Right, and at what point did Jaden become a nutrition expert? Why are we looking at him like he is the, vegan oracle? And, whatever he did is like, oh my God, it didn't work for him, so therefore everybody else, you gotta stop right now. It's like, he's a, 20-something idiot.
But popular.
It's in the Karate Kid remake. Can anyone read that? So that's our first story. I think that's been pretty much, I would say, debunked.
Absolutely.
Our second story, which I may have accidentally previewed earlier, is the UN Climate Action Summit in New York. You may have seen Greta, of course, doing the rounds on social media, the video of her talking about environmentalism. With things like this, I guess this is a question for anyone who wants to take it. Do you think that we're starting to see people in power acknowledging environmental issues?
No.
Next question.
That was a complete no.
Where's the joke? Have you got the joke?
What's really interesting is as all of the popularity around the all of the media attention around the UN climate summit that took place last week. There's still environmental issues notwithstanding, people still do not acknowledge the role that animal agriculture plays in climate change. But I think that's also a double-edged sword. Because in talking about that, yes, we need to acknowledge it, but I think that within the vegan community, we overrepresent the role of animal agriculture in climate change. A lot of times we say, especially because of films like Cowspiracy, a lot of times we say, it is the leading cause of climate change, and it's there are some very specific things that it is the leading cause of. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation. It's not the leading cause of emissions specifically, and we have to be really, what's that?
Is it 30% of emissions?
I'm not even sure that it's as much as 30% of emissions.
I heard it was 18.
18, I think, is the more accurate number, but we tend to say that it's 51%. And of course, the media discourse around it, whenever we introduce, fake news or numbers that are inflated, it really delegitimizes our message.
Yeah, I think what people focus on is that of the modifiable factors that are within the control of the average person, it probably is the leading thing that they can absolutely change. Because I tell people, if you're driving a Prius and talking about climate change, you need more fiber in your diet because you're full of shit.
No, because switching to a plant-based diet is the number one way that an individual person can lower their their footprint, their environmental footprint. Jake, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to jump in. I think we latch on to the things that we want to hear as social justice movement. So as an animal rights social justice movement, we latch on to the idea of animal agriculture. I think there's really interesting studies that show that actually the cement industry produces more emissions than anything else in the world, which is kind of astonishing to me. But who wants to do campaigns against cement? Anyone?
No hands went up. There's 2 hands at the front of the audience. Everybody else is sitting there.
I don't know. That sounds too hardcore for me.
Respect.
Well done.
No.
When is Dublin Cement Fest, anyone?
But I do think it's interesting, I do think it's important to recognize that changing our diets is super important and those are things that we can do as individuals. But ultimately, if we want to change the climate and make it more of a stable climate for everyone, we have to start picking away these systems of oppression, these larger focuses on the industries. And I think to go back to your original question, are the politicians and the government starting to pay attention? I think they're starting to pay attention because it's starting to affect their power and starting to affect their bottom line. But at the end of the day, they're putting people up on these panels to placate us and say, well, look, we're doing something. But really, in the background, they're making a shitload of money off of destroying the planet. And until we start putting pressure on their pockets and their finances and ways that they're getting their money and ways that they're gaining their power, once we start stripping that away, that's when we start to see, I think, things turning a little bit better for the climate. And so, while yes, I think we should be vegan, obviously I think I want a vegan world, but also if we don't start pressuring these individuals and pressuring these systems, I don't think anything's going to ultimately change.
15 minutes remaining. I will just have one quick question. So maybe I've got time for one quick question on this topic. I'm getting a nod, so we'll just overrun. If I can ask you, do you think that environmentalism as a vegan cause dilutes the message of animal rights?
No. I'm a firm believer in the idea of collective liberation, the idea that animal liberation and earth liberation and human liberation is all intertwined. And if we're all working on these different issues and sometimes separate from one another, that's okay. But I think in the end, it all connects. When we reach this amazing goal of liberation, it's not just animal liberation, it's not just human liberation, it's not just environmental liberation. We reach a liberation in a world where we all are free, because everyone wants to be free, everyone wants freedom, not just a select few. So I think if we fight for that end goal, we fight for that idea, I don't think it matters ultimately, if I don't think environmentalism dilutes animal rights, I don't think animal rights dilutes health issues and so forth and so on. I think they all have to work together because they all have intrinsic value and they all end up wanting the same thing.
I would agree with that, and you also have to keep in mind that when the environment suffers, the animals are the first one to feel it. And they're the first ones who are going to suffer as the environment degrades. And so we have to protect the environment for the animals as well as for ourselves.
I think that's the news portion of our podcast.
All right, shall we move on to the quiz? The quiz bit is actually a bit of fun, but we're running short on time, so we're not going to get through all 3 rounds because we got started late. No problem though, because we will move on. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually have the panelists on stage play for someone in the audience. So if you're in the audience, reach under your seat and see if you can find a cue card that has the letters VGN on it.
Come on down.
Anyone with a cue card? Some people may have switched seats. Some people may have moved out. We've got one cue card, VGN. Let's see if we have another seat. Sir, can you reach under that seat right beside me?
We got 3. We got 3.
There were 2. Whoa! So we got a VGN here. Come on up to the front. You also. Yeah, you didn't know there was going to be audience participation, did you? We surprised the shit out of you. Give them a round of applause. These are the people that our panelists on stage that we played for. What's your name?
Megan.
Megan and?
What's your Paolo? Paolo.
Megan and Paolo. Excellent. Tom, can you tell us what these participants are going to win, or one of these lucky participants?
Yes, one of these lucky participants is going to win
a 50 euro gift certificate to Greenbay, which is located in London, but they ship internationally, an online vegan grocery store. So you will actually be winning a 50 euro gift certificate for that. So we'll take your details, whichever one of you wins. And I've got some questions here that we're going to ask the panelists. No pressure to the panelists or anything, but one of you is going to lose for one of these fine people.
Who's on my team?
Well, that's the thing. Like, number one, let's see. I don't have a coin to flip, so I'm just going to have to arbitrarily pick. Paolo, Milton, you will be playing for him, and Jake, you will be playing for Megan.
We're going to win, don't worry. Just got to split the 50 with me.
No pressure or anything. All right, so the first part of our quiz is actually called quotables. If you'll switch to the next slide for us, Tom. I had to move away from Jake because I don't want him to see the answer. For this round, we're going to read you three quotes from recent news stories, and you have to tell us who said it. Choose the correct answer, and you're going to earn a point for your team. Selena, I know that you only have roughly 10 minutes left. If you will keep score for us while we're going through this. Quote number one. She seems like a very happy young girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. Who said that? Jake.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. That is correct. Correct answer. He was talking about Greta Thunberg. Give him a round of applause, everybody.
I don't take any pride in knowing that.
And what's really funny about that is actually Greta Thunberg had taken that and made it her Twitter bio after he said that about her. The next one is going to be for Dr. Milton Mills. They are the young people who, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. Who said that this week? I'll give you a hint. Because this one is a tough one. A Star Wars star. The original Star Wars, by the way.
Right, sure. Then I would probably, it's either Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford. I'm going to say Mark Hamill.
You're going to say Mark Hamill. The correct answer, Tom.
Can I steal this?
You can't steal. There's not a steal, Jake. It was Harrison Ford.
Are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference.
Oh, yeah. So I gave you a good one. But does Mark Hamill do anything besides play the Joker in the Batman animated series?
He's been very vocal about.
Has he been very vocal about this? Oh, that would have been a good one, but he did not say this one. All right. Third question. This one goes to Jake again. Oh my God, this is actually a really good one. This is a tough one. I've never really seen in London a homeless person that is fully starving and looks skinny and like they're dying of starvation. So yeah, obviously just give them vegan food. Otherwise, can't believe this. Otherwise, they're gonna buy crack with it or something. Who said that?
That would be Joey Carbstrong.
Jesus Christ, what the crap? Is this a correct answer, Joey Carbstrong? Everyone give him another round of applause. Tom, you got the video for this?
Never really see in London a homeless person that's fully starving and looks skinny and like they're dying of starvation. So yeah, he'll obviously just give them food, vegan food. Otherwise, you're gonna buy some crack with it or something. But it's a sad situation. But
Jinkies. So yeah, that was a thing that happened. By the way, like Joey has a podcast himself. It is not a podcast for petty people. I think it's called,
I have no idea. I've never
the
seen
Carb Strong cast is funny as crap, but like this is the thing that he's got. Ours is going to be more popular. The second, so Selena, where are we on our score right now?
We got 2.
That's 2. And Dr. Milton Mills has 0.
Oh man, okay, Milton Mills, this is your chance to catch up. We're going to start with you in the second round. The second round is actually called Sad Animal Facts. In this game, Tom, if you'll advance, our panelists are going to have to separate fact from fiction. We're going to read you 2 sad animal facts, and you have to choose which one is actually true. If you get the correct answer, you're going to earn 1 point for your team being Paolo. Okay, are you ready to play?
Sure.
All right. Now, this one has to do with chipmunks. I'm going to read you the 2 facts. Number 1, chipmunks stuff their faces until their cheeks are 3 times as wide as their head. Or, chipmunks can actually sing, which is behind the creation of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
It's the stuffing their face.
Stuffing their face.
That's the one that's true.
That's the one that's true. You choose the one that's true.
Stuffing their face.
All right, Tom. The correct answer. Chipmunks stuff their faces until their cheeks are 3 times as wide as their head. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Circle justice square. Excellent. Second question. This one's for Jake. Second sad animal facts. Cats sleep 70% of their lives, or cats can actually use their whiskers for smell. Which one of these statements is true?
The first one I would say is true.
Jeez, cliffhanger on that one. Tom, what's the correct answer?
Correct answer is?
Cats sleep 70% of their lives. Correct answer. Another point for Jake. Now, back to Milton. Before spraying their enemies, skunks try to threaten them by using dance, or skunks spray their children to test them while they are young. Which one of these is true?
They dance.
They dance. All right, let's see what happens.
The correct answer is?
Before spraying their enemies, skunks try to threaten them using dance. Correct answer for Milton Mills. Absolutely. First of all, I love the fact that we can actually use dance to threaten people.
Dance.
Yeah, it's a cute dance. You've seen this?
I've seen it.
Also, you knew this going into it then. I have never YouTubed skunks dancing, so I have no idea what it looks like. I am assuming it's not like a Cabbage Patch or something like that. It's just a little shit. I assume that this is what what skunks do. Next one, this is back to Jake. Reindeer could not lead a sleigh because they actually have a poor sense of direction, or reindeer eat mostly moss. Which of these statements is true?
I will go with the second one being true.
Tom, give us the correct answer, please.
Correct answer is?
Reindeer eat mostly moss. Once again, correct answer for Jake. It's still in the lead, everybody, but Milton can still take this away from him.
It's 100% for everyone.
Mice can have up to 13 babies at once, or mice can eat 15 to 20 times per day. Which one of these is the true statement?
Okay, mice can have up to
13 babies at once.
No, they eat up to 15 times a day.
Tom.
The correct answer is?
Mice eat 15 to 20 times a day. Another point for Paolo from Dr. Milton Mills. First of all, I am like mice. I can eat 15 to 20 times a day too. Mice have nothing on vegans. Back to Jake. Dogs can tell when someone is untrustworthy, or dogs can actually count to 100.
I feel like I've seen dogs do both, but I'm going to say untrustworthy.
Ooh, Tom, the correct answer.
The correct answer is?
Dogs can tell when someone is untrustworthy. Dogs can actually count to 10, but dogs do not count to 100. That we know of. Dogs are probably doing complex mathematical equations that are beyond my control. So. Back to Dr. Mills. Female white-fronted parrots abandon their eggs immediately after they lay them, or male white-fronted parrots vomit on females that they want to mate with.
Men being men, they probably vomit on the women.
Give us the correct answer, please.
The correct answer is, in fact,
male white-fronted parrots vomit on females they want to mate with. Along with every guy in every pub on Saturday fucking night. And women are sick of their crap. Next question, this one is back to Jake. Honeybees shake their butts to express displeasure, or honeybees have tiny ears which are very sensitive to sound?
I'm gonna say they shake it.
They shake it. Mm-hmm. Tom, shake it fast.
The correct answer is?
Honeybees shake their butts to express displeasure. Another correct answer for Jake. Fun fact about honeybees, they actually don't have ears at all. Honeybees don't have ears and they cannot hear. They rely on vibrations. So, next one. This is a very tight race. Back to Milton Mills. Dr. Mills. There are more plastic flamingos in the United States than real ones, or flamingo feathers only appear pink in the light. They're actually orange. Which one of these statements is true?
Oh, wait, read that again.
The first statement, there are more plastic flamingos in the United States than real flamingos, or flamingo feathers only appear pink in the light. They are actually orange.
The first one, there are more fake ones in our room.
Let's give it up for the correct answer. Tom?
The answer is...
There are more plastic flamingos in the United States than real ones. That is a very sad animal fact. You've got more plastic flamingos. Last one. Okay, this one goes back to Jake. Fox ears are actually asymmetrical. Or, if a female fox dies, her mate will stay single forever, but widowed female foxes look for a new mate immediately.
I'm gonna go with the second one.
The second one, Tom. Which one do you think is true? If a female fox dies, her mate will stay single forever, but widowed female foxes definitely look for a new mate immediately. As well they should. As well they should. Correct answer for Jake. Selena, what's our score? I know you have to leave right about now, so.
Dr. Mills has 5, but in the lead we have Cranky, that's Cranky Jake, with...
I got all of them
8.
right.
Wait, how many questions did you got?
I got one more right than I did.
I believe if Jake got all of them correct, he would actually have 7. But this is the sudden death round. This is the sudden death round where Milton can have an upset. This is where all the audience participation leads up to.
And if you lose, you have to do a dramatic death instead.
And you have to do a dramatic, like, bee dance, apparently. No, like, this is the sudden death round. Like, this last one is worth 5 points.
Making
So
the rest of it completely irrelevant.
yeah, we're gonna skip actually the hill to die on. But this last one is we've got like a panel question for you. Like this question is going to test your general knowledge on animal-related news stories over the past summer. We originally had 2 questions, but because we're pressed for time, we're only going to do 1. Ocean City, New Jersey, in the United States, decided to combat their aggressive seagull problem by coming up with a creative but costly solution. What was it?
I'm saying no idea. The seagull?
Seagulls. Ocean City had an aggressive seagull problem in the United States, and they came up with a costly solution. Selena, looks like you may know something about this.
I don't know it, but I've got a guess.
You got a guess?
What
did Ocean City do?
Well, I used to keep chickens, rescue chickens.
Yes.
And there were foxes in the area. And one thing that I learned about was to keep the foxes away from your chickens is you feed them on the perimeter.
Yes.
And then they don't feel the need to come in. Did they feed the seagulls?
They did not.
I mean, that would have been good.
That would have been good. That would have actually been a nice thing to do. Jake.
I'm gonna guess that oftentimes to keep hawks or eagles away from certain areas, they put string with shiny metallic paper and reflective things on it to keep them away. I'm guessing that they did that.
Like Tinseltown.
Yeah, like they just covered the whole Ocean City in Tinseltown.
That would have been a very costly and a weird, that would have been a weird solution. They did not do either of those. Nobody got the sudden death round. I'll tell what? Milton?
They brought in loud noises.
They did bring in something, but it wasn't loud noises.
Foxes.
Then
Jake you're getting really close.
Hawks or owls?
What's that?
Hawks.
Or
Owls?
Holy smokes. That is actually, that is the correct answer.
I don't know.
I feel like
it's gotten yours so long.
wait, no, let's hear it. According to the New York Times in an article dated August 15th, the city unleashed a posse of raptors, 4 hawks, 2 falcons, and an owl to take on the unreleased seagulls. And this is great though, because we're going to introduce a larger predator to take care of the seagull problem. And if anybody is wondering, the predator that can actually take care of their hawk problem and falcon problem is actually wolves. So we'll just look to see what happens next year in Ocean City, New Jersey. If there's wolves prowling this beach town, then everybody's gonna have a problem. But yeah, so this is actually the correct answer because both of you were so good about that, and because both of you were so collaborative in answering that question, I think we're going to have to give both of our guests the prize, the grand prize. So Paolo and Megan, both of you are going to get the 50-euro gift certificate in Greenbay. Please give your details to Tom. That is it for the show this week. Thank you everybody who participated. The VGN podcast for petty people. Thank you all for being so petty. Let's give it up for the folks on our panel.
Very quickly, two lady friends met in heaven. And one looked at the other and said, oh my God, what are you doing? How did you die? She said, I froze to death. She said, oh my goodness, it sounds terrible. She said, it wasn't so bad. First I got really cold, then I felt warm, and before I knew it, I was here. She said, what happened to you? She said, well, you know, I was convinced that my husband was cheating. And so I started looking everywhere in the house trying to find the woman that he was cheating with. And I looked under the bed, I looked in the closet, I looked out in the garage, and finally I climbed up on the roof looking for her, and I fell off and broke my neck. Her friend said, too bad you didn't look in the freezer, then you both be all right.
Dr. Milton Mills, everybody! Jake Conroy! My co-host today, Selena Caemawr, and Tom Lane. Thank you all for coming out. If you are here to see Dr. Milton Mills, he is going to have the next presentation. Please follow VGN.news on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Thank you all for coming out today. And thank you all for being the pettiest vegans in Dublin!